Good morning, dear students. Welcome back again with the new session of the lesson metallurgy. Here we are going to discuss about the extraction of metals. Now, depending upon the reactivity of the metals, different reactivities of metals have different method of extraction. So we are going to study about them. Now that depending upon the reactivity, how metal is being extracted. The extraction of reactive metals. The metals at the top of the reactivity series are highly reactive. The reactivity decreases down the series. For example, potassium, sodium, aluminium are reactive metals. Reactive metals have large capacity to form cations by losing the electrons in the outermost shell. For example, reactive metals react vigorously with dilute acids to give hydrogen gas. Highly reactive metals burn by reacting with oxygen to form air at room temperature. The extraction has to be done by electrolytic reduction. For example, metals sodium, calcium, and magnesium are obtained by electrolysis of their molten chloride salts. In this process, metal is deposited on the cathode while chlorine gas is liberated at the anode. The electrode reactions during the electrolysis of molten sodium chloride to get metallic sodium are as shown below. Now, how the actual reaction take place in order for the purification of the metals of sodium. See, at cathode, what happens? Sodium is donating the electron. Sodium is donating the electrons. Sorry, sodium ions receives the electrons and gets converted into sodium. That is called as reduction because sodium ion has received the electrons. At the same time, chloride ion has donated the electrons to become chlorine molecule. So here, therefore, it is called as oxidation reaction. Now, the electrode reaction for the electrolysis of magnesium chloride and calcium chloride can be written in the same way we have to do it of your own. Now, precisely we'll be dealing with extraction of aluminium. So some information about aluminium. Symbol is Al, capital Al, color silver white, atomic number 30, electronic configuration 283, valency is 3. Aluminium, being reactive metal, does not occur in nature in a free state. Aluminium is the third highly abundant element on the Earth crust after oxygen and silicon. Aluminium is extracted from the ore bauxite Al2O3 and H2O. Bauxite contains 30% to 70% of aluminium oxide and remaining part is gangue. It is made up of sand, silica, iron oxide, etc. There are two steps in the extraction of alumina. The first step, which you have already discussed it, that is concentration of the bauxite ore. How it is to be done. Now here you have to be very much precise because with respect to board exam point of view, depending upon the extraction, questions are being asked either for 5 marks. It may be 1 mark, each of 5 questions will be there, or it may be together 3 marks question will be asked. But most probably one question on the basis of extraction is being asked. The bauxite is the main ore of aluminium, silica SiO2, ferric oxide Fe2O3, and titanium oxide TiO2 are the impurities present in bauxite. Separation of these impurities is done by leaching process. Leaching process, already we have discussed that certain substances get dissolved, okay, and which do not dissolve are the residue which has to be removed out. So that is called as leaching process. Leaching process using either Bayer's method or Hall's method. In both these methods, finally the concentrated alumina is obtained by the calcination. In the Bayer's process, the ore is first ground in a ball mill. Then it is leached by heating with concentrated solution of caustic soda. Caustic soda, which we also call it as sodium hydroxide, or symbol is NaOH, at a particular condition, that is at 140 to 150 degrees Celsius under high pressure of about 2 to 8 hours in a digester. Aluminum oxide, being amphoteric in nature, it reacts with aqueous solution of sodium hydroxide to form water-soluble sodium aluminate. This means that bauxite is leached with sodium hydroxide solution. Now here, amphoteric in nature implies here in the presence of acid, the substance solution becomes act as a base, and in the presence of base, it acts as an acid. So here, aluminum oxide in the presence of sodium hydroxide act as an acid, and therefore it is called as amphoteric in nature. In the presence of base, it will act as an acid. In the presence of acid, it will act as a base, and therefore aluminum oxide is amphoteric in nature. And here the impurities, along with the impurities, it is reacted with sodium hydroxide, that is caustic soda. So here, which remains unaffected, that is the residue which is left out, which is removed out as a residue or gangue. Now here, aluminum oxide with molecule of water and sodium hydroxide, when they react with each other to form sodium meta-aluminate, and water molecule is given out. Iron oxide in the gangue does not dissolve in aqueous sodium hydroxide. It is separated by filtration. So here the gangue is not dissolved. The waste material is not dissolved. They remain as it is, and therefore they can be easily separated by filtration method. However, silica in the gangue dissolves aqueous sodium hydroxide to form water-soluble sodium silicate. Aqueous solution, aqueous sodium aluminate is diluted by putting in water and cooled by 50 degrees Celsius. This results in the precipitation of aluminum hydroxide. So again, sodium meta-aluminate reacts with water to form sodium hydroxide and aluminum hydroxide, and thus we get aluminum hydroxide. Now this aluminum hydroxide is then heated, ignited, and then cooled down, heated, ignited, and then it gets converted into aluminum oxide. Now in the Hawes process, the ore is powdered and then leached by heating with aqueous sodium carbonate in a digester to form water-soluble sodium aluminate. Then the insoluble impurities are filtered out. The filtrate is warmed and neutralized by passing through carbon dioxide gas through it. This results in the precipitation of aluminum hydroxide. Now, aluminum oxide Al2O3 2H2O plus sodium carbonate results in the formation of sodium meta-aluminate, carbon dioxide, and water. And sodium meta-aluminate reacts with water and carbon dioxide to form aluminum hydroxide and sodium carbonate. The precipitate of aluminum hydroxide obtained in both Bayer's process and Hawes process is filtered, then washed, dried, and then calcinated by heating up to 1000 degrees Celsius to obtain alumina. So here, aluminum hydroxide, that process is not being mentioned on the arrow, but the thing is, what is done here is washed, dried, and ignited or heated up to 1000 degrees Celsius and gets converted into alumina. Again, here oxides of aluminum is not the purest form of the alumina. So how to get the purest form of the alumina? Now again, it is being reduced by removing the oxygen from the alumina. How it is done? By electrolytic reduction of alumina. In this method, electrolysis of molten mixture of alumina, melting point is more than 2000 degrees Celsius, is done in a steel tank. The tank has graphite lining on the inner side. This lining does not work. This lining does the work of a cathode. A set of graphite rod dipped into the molten electrolyte work as an anode, that is cryolite Na3Al6 and fluorspar CaF2 are added in the mixture to lower the melting point up to 1000 degrees Celsius. It requires a lot of energy to raise the temperature up to more than 2000 degrees Celsius, and therefore, in order to reduce the melting point of the alumina, the mixture like cryolite and fluorspar is added so that the melting point which was more than 2000 degrees Celsius has been reduced to less than 1000 degrees Celsius. This was the first part of the electrolytic reduction of alumina. Now the second part, that is B part. Aluminium is deposited on the cathode on passing electric current. Then molten alumina, being heavier than electrolyte, is collected at the bottom of the tank. It is taken out It is taken out from there from time to time. Oxygen gas is liberated at the anode. The electron reaction as shown below. At anode, what happens? Oxygen ions they donate electrons and becomes converted into oxygen gas. Since they are donating electrons, it is called as oxidation. Cathode reaction. At cathode, aluminium cations they are receiving the electrons and therefore it is called as reduction method or reduction reaction. The liberated oxygen reacts with the anodes to form carbon dioxide gas. The anode has to be changed from time to time as they get oxidized during the electrolysis of alumina and therefore does not function properly. And therefore this electrode has to be replaced after regular interval. Now we have discussed about the extraction of highly reactive metals, for example, aluminium. Now we are going to discuss about extraction of moderately reactive metals. Now in them, which of these metals are considered as moderately reactive metals? The metal in the middle of the reactivity series such as iron, zinc, lead, copper are moderately reactive. Usually they occur in the form of the sulfide salts or carbonates and it is easier to obtain metals from the oxides rather than sulfides or carbonates. So to extract metal from oxide is easy rather than to get oxides of metal from carbonates and sulfides. And therefore, two method is being used that is called roasting and calcination. That is, sulfides and carbonates are converted into respective oxides. Now, and now here, what is actually roasting and what is actually calcination? Now, when the sulfide ore are strongly heated in air to transform them into oxide. This process is called as roasting. For example, zinc sulfide is heated in the presence of air, gets converted into zinc oxide, and sulfur dioxide gas is given out. Then, other way, when carbonate ore is strongly heated in a limited supply of air to transform them into oxide, that is called as calcination. For example, zinc carbonate is heated in a limited supply of air, gets converted into zinc oxide and carbon dioxide. So, unlimited supply, roasting, limited supply, calcination. In roasting, sulfide is used, in calcination, carbonate is used. The intention behind is what? To convert the sulfides and carbonates into oxides. Because once the metal is converted into oxides, it becomes easy to convert into the purest form of the metal by electrolysis reduction method. Now, zinc oxide is obtained to reduce by zinc by using suitable reductants such as carbon. Zinc oxide is heated or reacts in the presence of carbon to get zinc plus carbon monoxide. Apart from carbon, reactive metals such as sodium, calcium, aluminium are also used as a reducing agent for reduction of metal oxide to obtain the metal. This is because these metals displace moderately reactive metal from its compound. For example, when manganese dioxide is ignited with aluminium powder, the following reaction takes place. Here, manganese oxide reacts with aluminium to form manganese plus aluminium oxide and heat is liberated. The heat evolved in the above reaction is so large that metal is formed in the molten state, that is, in the liquid state. Another similar example is the Thermit reaction. Here, iron oxide reacts with aluminium to form iron and aluminium oxide. You can see the diagram, it is being shown here, thermit welding. Now, we have discussed about extraction of high reactive metals and extraction of moderate reactive metals with help of certain examples. In a highly reactive metals, we have considered example of aluminium. In moderate reactive metals, we have considered the example of zinc. Now we are going to discuss about extraction of less reactive metals. The metals at the bottom of the reactivity series of metals are called as less reactive. That is that is why they are found in the free state in nature. For example, gold, silver, platinum. The reserves of copper are in free state or and are very few. Presently, copper is found mainly in the form of copper sulfide. Copper is obtained from copper sulfide just by heating in air. You can see here with the help of chemical reaction it is being shown here. Copper sulfide in the presence of air gets converted into copper oxide and sulfur dioxide is given out. And the same copper oxide when it's react with copper sulfide we get here copper plus sulfur dioxide is given out. And thus by simple means we can get the purest form of metal for the least reactive metal. It can be metals can be extracted which are least reactive metals. Now refining of metals after extraction it has to be maximum purified and that is done by refining of metals. Metals obtained by various reduction process described above are very pure. They contain impurities. The impurities need not to be separated to obtain the pure. Electrolysis method is used to obtain pure metals from the impure metals. Now, corrosion of metals. Now, we have seen or listened many of the accidents which are caused because of corrosion of metals. Now, corrosion is best example during rainy season. The grills which are made up of iron they get rusted and their life goes on decreasing. So here, if the corrosion of metals takes place, many of the bridges collapse. There is a huge loss of life and property. Many accidents have been occurred because of the corrosion of the metals. Therefore, we should know about actually what is corrosion and how it can be prevented and how we can increase the lifespan of the metal. So first of all, rusting of iron articles causes large financial loss. Thus, corrosion of iron, that is rusting, is a big problem. So, iron reacts with moist air and a deposit of reddish substance Fe2O3 H2O is formed on it. This substance is called as rust. Carbon dioxide in moist air reacts with the surface of copper vessel. The copper loses its luster due to the formation of greenish layer copper carbonate on its surface. This is called as patination of copper. On exposure to air, the silver particles turn blackish after some time. This is because of the layer of silver sulfide formed on the reaction of silver with hydrogen sulfide present in the air. By oxidation of aluminum, a thin layer of aluminum oxide forms on it. So, this is how the rusting takes place with various ways. Now, how prevention of corrosion can be done? Different methods have been used in order to prevent the corrosion. Various methods are used to protect the metals from the corrosion. Special attention is almost all the methods so that the iron does not get rusted. We can lower the rate of the process of rusting of iron. Corrosion of metals can be stopped by keeping metals isolated from the atmosphere or direct contact with the air. The prevention of corrosion can be achieved by various ways. Some of these methods are as follows: to fix a layer of some substance on the metal surface so that the contact of metal with the moisture and oxygen in the air is prevented and the reaction would occur and no reaction would occur between them. To prevent corrosion of metals by applying a layer of paint, oil, grease, or varnish on the surface. For example, corrosion of iron can be prevented by this is called varnishing. So, can we permanently prevent the rusting of article by applying a layer of paint on the surface? We cannot protect the articles permanently from rusting by painting them. The method of painting is suitable for short time. If there is scratch on the paint or surface, and if a small surface subarticle and if a small surface of the metal comes in contact with the air, the process of rusting starts below the layer of the paint. Therefore, what are the other methods due to which we can prevent the corrosion? Corrosion can be prevented by putting a layer of non corrodible metal or corrodible metal. This is can be done in many ways. Galvanizing. In this method, a thin layer of zinc is applied to prevent the corrosion of iron or steel. For example, shining of iron nail pins, etc. In this method, corrosion of zinc occurs first because zinc is more electropositive than iron. After a few rainy seasons, zinc layer goes away and the inner iron gets exposed. Then iron starts rusting. So the lifespan can be increased by galvanizing. Another method is tinning. In this method, layer of molten tin is deposited on metals. We call this is as calor or kalai. The greenish layer forms on the surface of the copper or a brass vessel. This greenish layer is poisonous. If buttermilk or curry is placed in such a vessel, it gets spoiled. The tinning is done to prevent all such damages. Then, anodization. In this method, metals like copper, aluminium, and coated with copper, aluminium are coated with thin and strong layer of their oxides by means of electrolysis. For this, copper or aluminium article is used as anode. In this oxide layer is strong and uniform all over the surface. It is used for the it is useful for the prevention of corrosion of the metal. For example, when aluminum is anodized, the thin layer of aluminum oxide is formed. It obstructs the contact of aluminum with oxygen and water. This prevents further oxidation. This protection can be further increased by making the oxide layer thicker during the anodization. Then, next method for preventing corrosion is electroplating. In this method, a less reactive metal is coated with a more reactive metal by electrolysis. Silver plated spoons, gold, and ornaments are the examples of electroplating. Alloying. Majority of the metallic substances used presently are in the form of alloys. The main intention behind this is to decrease the intensity of corrosion of metals. The homogeneous mixture of the homogeneous mixture formed by mixing a metal with other metals or non-metals in certain proportion is called an alloy. For example, bronze is an alloy formed from 90% copper and 10% tin. Bronze statues do not get affected by sun and rain. Stainless steel does not get affected or get stains with air or water and does not rust. It is an only alloy made from 74% iron, 18% chromium, and 8% carbon. In recent times, various types of alloy are used for minting coins. And thus, these are the various ways through which metals can be prevented from corrosion and huge loss of life and property can be prevented. Here we have completed this lesson. We'll start with a new lesson with a new video. Till then, have a great day.